All right, so moving on to the final segment, we're going to pivot here to the world of wrestling inside the WWE world. And in this segment, I'll be sharing my own personal list of WrestleMania matches that did not live up to the hype, fans' expectations, and just flat out undelivered on the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. So I have 5 matches on this list. Some are very controversial, debatable, but this is my own personal list of WrestleMania matches that did not live up to the hype and fans' expectations over the years. So starting off with match number 1, it would be Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 32. Now, to me, it's strange when you think about Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is one of the greatest of all time and can really mesh with a lot of in-ring styles. And when you think about Brock Lesnar, he had some great moments and great matches with 2 out of 3 Shield members, that being Roman Reigns for having one of the longest rivalries in WWE history, and Seth Rollins. But you look at his work with both Reigns and Rollins, Lesnar has some great in-ring chemistry and has some great matches, but him and Dean Ambrose could never hit it off with each other. Now, when you look at the match that was set for WrestleMania 32, Dean Ambrose had a lot of great creative ideas to pitch to Brock Lesnar for the match. Brock Lesnar rejected a lot of creative ideas that Dean Ambrose had in mind, which led to a forgettable 13-minute, no-holds-barred street fight between the 2 respective wrestlers at WrestleMania 32. It was disappointing because Dean Ambrose, being a lunatic at the time, unhinged, and Brock Lesnar being the beast incarnate, being one hell of a performer, these 2 should have had such a better match, and which was a forgettable WrestleMania 32. But this could have been the match that stole the show, and instead is one of the most disappointing matches on the entire card. And we never seen Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar ever work together again in a wrestling ring. So very disappointing, but I feel like that match could have been much more, and the feud could have been carried on if the first match was successful, but it was not. So that has to make the list. Next match will be Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 37. Now, Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt really did have a disappointing WrestleMania 37 match. And I personally thought they would make up for it for their disappointing WrestleMania 33 match that had a great build, but the match did not live up to the hype and fans' expectations. And this match fell short as well. Now, at the time, Bray Wyatt was going through a lot, and personally, he probably shouldn't have been out there for WrestleMania 37. Also was going through a lot, and his longtime friend Luke Harper unfortunately passed away a few months before the event, so you knew that he was going through a lot. But I thought they would have made up for their disappointing WrestleMania 33 match. Instead, it was a very slow-paced match. Red lighting as well. I don't know what was the point of the red lighting for the match as well. With the Alexa Bliss being ringside for the match to watch, the duration of the match, a lot of the match was directed on her attention and her input on the match, only for Alexa Bliss to turn on Bray Wyatt, for Randy Orton to defeat Bray Wyatt, and that was unfortunately Bray Wyatt's final WrestleMania match. And actually, a fun fact, this was Randy Orton's final PLE singles victory, dating all the way back to nearly 4 years ago in 2021. But Orton and Wyatt, they had great chemistry, but they could never live up to the hype and fans' expectations of what it's like to have a great match at WrestleMania together, failing twice at being on the grandest stage of them all together. But long live Bray Wyatt, an ultimate legend. But him and Orton can never see eye to eye having a great match at WrestleMania in their respective wrestling careers. Next, this one hits home. It's John Cena versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 34. Now, everyone believed at WrestleMania 33 that The Undertaker retired after losing to Roman Reigns. The way how he left the main event of WrestleMania 33, he left his hat, left his gloves in the ring, and was shown on camera kissing and hugging his family, Michelle McCool, and their kids. And that's something that Undertaker broke character of being the Phenom of. So everybody thought that was it. But then the following year, Undertaker seemed like he was going to come back. Now, the story was perfect because John Cena was desperate to be a part of WrestleMania that year. He failed winning the Royal Rumble. He failed winning the Elimination Chamber. And even failed at Fastlane, losing the six-pack challenge match for the WWE title. So Cena was out of options for WrestleMania. So he called out The Undertaker out of retirement and was throwing jabs at the Dead Man weekly. And the story was great. You even had John Cena sit in the crowd with fans for WrestleMania 34, thinking that The Undertaker wasn't going to show up. But The Undertaker finally did show up, and those two respective wrestlers had a match that only lasted 2 minutes, which was a squash match that The Undertaker squashed Cena, which was forgettable. And I felt bad for The Undertaker because the documentary showed that Undertaker busted his ass getting the best shape of trying to get back in the best shape that he could be in, only for the match to be 2 minutes long. And he prepared to basically have a long match. Now, Vince McMahon, I think, was protecting Undertaker because of all the injuries that he sustained during his career. But I wish the match would have just lasted at least 10 to 15 minutes. And arguably, that match should have been a match that, or no, not arguably, really should have happened. That Taker and Cena should have got a match between each other in their primes at WrestleMania within the time frame of 2006 to 2011. They definitely should have mixed it up at the grand stage of all of WrestleMania. Waited too late in their respective careers, and I think that's the reason why that match fell flat. So that has to make the list. Now, this one's kind of debatable, but I'm going to add it to the list as well. John Cena versus Randy Orton versus Triple H, triple threat match for the WWE title at WrestleMania 24. Now, when you honestly look back at this match, it's a good match, but it's not a classic as what it should have been when you had three Hall of Famers like this on the grand stage of one with a triple threat match. Now, I really feel like it should have been Cena versus Orton all along for the title at WrestleMania 24 because there was some unfinished business there. They should have got their one-on-one singles match at the grand stage of them all. Now, John Cena, back in 2007, torn his pec and was supposed to be out for a very long time. John Cena bounced back and came back within 4 months to win the Royal Rumble, and then faced Randy Orton for the WWE title No Way Out in 2008, cashed in his WrestleMania Championship match at No Way Out, only for Cena to win the match by DQ. He couldn't win the title. Meanwhile, that night, Triple H won the Elimination Chamber to earn a WWE title shot at WrestleMania. It should have never been a triple threat match. It was overshadowed by other matches on the card, like the Money in the Bank ladder match, Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair, the exhibition match, or whatever match it was between Floyd Mayweather and The Big Show, and The Undertaker and Edge. So this match wasn't one of the best, and all along it should have been Cena versus Orton. And at No Way Out that year, you should have just had Randy Orton defend the WWE title inside the Elimination Chamber. That would have helped his stock to have a stronger WWE title reign that he had from No Mercy to Backlash at the time. But I think it was a good match, but should have lived up to a classic. And I'm going to put that on my list because I've expected more from these respective wrestlers from the 15 minutes that they gave us back in 2008. And the final match. This one definitely has to make the list. It's recent memory, but it's Jimmy Uso versus Jey Uso at WrestleMania 40. Now, I was very disappointed in this match last year. The match was horrible. It was filled with super kicks and horrible wrestling. Now, I understand that Jimmy Uso was legitimately hurt, so maybe they did the best that they could, but I was just so disappointed because I thought this was going to be one of the matches that stole the show. You had the twin brothers, Jimmy and Jey, the Usos, becoming one of the greatest tag teams in WWE history, having the longest reigning tag team reign in WWE history. And the build-up for this match was special because it was months in the making. You had the Usos finally leave Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa in the bloodline, only for Jimmy Uso to cost Jey Uso winning the WWE title at SummerSlam 2023, defeating Roman Reigns, and for Jimmy Uso to join back Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, and Paul Heyman and the bloodline. And that's what really created main event Jey Uso, because Jey Uso went over to Monday Night Raw and even won the tag team titles with Cody Rhodes. So the build-up for the match was so great, but it lacked flavor because the match was so bland. I thought I was watching Young Bucks AEW matches with all the super kicks, and bad wrestling was a display in this as well. And something that was missing, Rikishi being the father of the two Usos should have been the special guest referee and would have played a really big role in this build-up to WrestleMania if Rikishi was a part of this storyline. So something that WWE missed out on last year, but I am so disappointed that Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso's match was so terrible. And it was probably the worst WrestleMania match, night 1 and night 2 of the entire cards of WrestleMania 40 last year. Big downfall, and I think Rikishi, being a Hall of Famer, being the father of the Usos, would have played a big role in this storyline that we'll probably see never again. But those are my thoughts on the most disappointing WrestleMania matches that did not live up to the hype and fans' expectations. That is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyree, signing off, and I'll see you guys on next week's episode.